Thank you, everyone, and welcome. I will start sharing my screen. I hope you can see it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I will just go through what we did last time. And then from there, just quickly, like from there, then we proceed on today's lesson. I hope each one of you has the data code food as well as the data code wash, because those will be the data set that will be alternating in doing our analysis. So quickly, we did a lot of stuff. We did some data importing into ER, and then we did some summary statistics, and then we also did some how we can generate new variables and how we can rename the variables. For example, those that have long names, and then we make sure that they have shorter names. And then we also did how to filter. For example, we filtered age in data code wash, only those that are 15 above and less than 60. And then we also had to assign like categories. And then we also did some creation of new variables. So we create a age category, like we had to categorize age into 15 to 30, 31 to 45, and then 46 plus. And then we created well, I would say a bar graph using ggplot. And this is what we saw last time. And then lastly, we only had to come up with a table that a summary statistics, but then from the output window, which looked like this. So based on our today's class outline, we're supposed to do lots of stuff, and apologies that we will not, I feel like we will not finish all. One thing that would take us more time is to do the pie charts. It looks simple, but it takes time to do it in other than the other charts. So we did bar graph last time. I think I demonstrated on how someone can do the single and then stacked bar graph as well as side by side. So this there's just this one is the side by side. Once we change on, this is the side by side bar graph. Let me just so that you can see it. Yeah. So this one is a side by side bar graph. And I said to make it a stacked bar graph, we have just to change here where we are saying position equal to Dodge, and then here we need just to put position equal to stack. And here as well, position equal to stack. So if we do that, we run the same, it should generate sort of a stacked bar graph. We do that, we go here, we find now instead of the dodged one or the side by side, we have a bar graph that is stacked. So I think the first one, the point number one, I think in this context is fine. We can add a lot of things. Maybe just addition here, we can add like a subtitle. Sorry, so if we come here, we say, okay, ggplot distribution, and then here we can also just add the subtitle if you want to put so we can add a subtitle as well if you want to put something that, like in this context, of course, a subtitle might not be that much necessary because we only have we only have like a distribution of something. So instead of adding here, sorry, it should be added inside here where it's written ggplot. So ggplot here, it means that I will just change here the main label to be distribution of respondents education by sex, and then I can put a subtitle, maybe like what, maybe like the name of the study. So this was WASH study, and then if I run this, it should give me sort of a subtitle. And if I zoom it, try to see, you find a subtitle here. Like there is a subtitle here. But mostly the subtitles are needed maybe if you are doing very complex things, but for this one, I don't think is much necessary. Not much necessary rather. So let's proceed. The next thing that I want us to go through is how to construct, I'll just like do this and that, how to construct a box plot. So a box plot is a form of a graph, but mostly is used for continuous data on, say, categorical groups. So for example, in our, so here we are going to do some box plots. And so we start with ggplot. I'm getting some echo. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll start with ggplot. And the other way of doing it is just making ggplot, and then I'm trying to see if we have some issues. Okay, Kefas, can you try to mute? And Leonard. I think it has stopped. Okay, so let's try. I don't know, for whatever reasons. Okay, because I was getting myself. So all right. So we come to ggplot, and then what? Okay, so the other thing I forgot was that here, when you are doing ggplot, you can put data, or you can just write the same here, ggplot, and then you say wash. I will demonstrate what I mean. And once you say wash, and then say, okay, I want geom box plot. So the goodness is the list of geom has a lot of, you can do a geom line, geom area, geom bar, that's the bar graph. And there are a lot of box plot, column, contours, contour field, count, crossbar, curves, density, a lot of them, even the dot plot, the frequency polygon, histogram, and etc. you find a lot of them. So for me, I'm interested to get a box plot. You see, for those that haven't seen like how a box plot look like, I think you would see it how it looks. So I need to put an aesthetic where I need to specify. For example, in x-axis, I'll need maybe education, for example. And then in y-axis, I will need a continuous variable, age. That means I need to see the distribution of age based on education. I need to see the distribution of age based on those who did not attend any education, based on those that attended primary, and those that attended secondary or tertiary. If I do this, you will find something like this. Which when I expand it, that's how it will look like. So this is the distribution of, that's the distribution of those that attended primary, the age in terms of those that did not attend any education. Whilst this one is for primary, this one is secondary, and then this one is for tertiary. As you would tell, like, which would also make sense in our Malawian context, for people who are old enough, we expect that most of them, their education is low, because back then it was difficult for someone to get education. Whereas you would expect for primary, secondary, and tertiary, you find that most of the people who are in their 30s these days have at least acquired education to secondary school or a tertiary education. So I will not explain much as into what this box plot mean. That would also be like a lesson on its own. But I wanted just to, first of all, to see how we come up with those. And then later on, we can do maybe a lesson on how all the interpretation of these kind of plots. So, and then what do I need to do? I need to give this one what? A title. So I will need just to do GG title. It will come, then box plot of whatever name you would give it. Okay. So I give it a title, and then I can also do the same. The x-axis is written age. So I need to, someone cannot know what age means. So I'll say label x-axis, okay, to education, or maybe highest education level, highest education level. And then similarly for y-axis, at least age, okay, but I can still also say label and label this may be age of the respondent, for example. So here R is complaining because it's expecting for me to put quotes here, 2 quotes, and it should not complain. Yes. So if I do that, then at least I will have my I will have R give, I'll have a title on top, then the age of the respondents as well as education level. And I can also like flip the way it looks here. So I can flip that education level should be on the this axis, and then age of the respondents on that axis. I will need just to do the same, and then I will need just to flip the coordinates. So I will type code flip. There's code flip here. I'll leave it the way it is like that. Then look how it will look now. So you can always switch. Similarly for the graph, you can always switch from one aspect to the other. So if I go to the zoom, now look how it's more of the same, but kind of stretched like, but it communicates the same message. If we go back to the graph that we did last time, you can also, like this graph, you can also apply the flip. You can also apply the flip to this one. It should at least work. If it doesn't work, then that's part of then that's part of programming. But it should work also. So if you do that, then you find that it also works the same. So flip is just changing the axis like the way it should look. And then you can select the theme as well, because here it's from the background is there's some square boxes. You can try to remove that one by just inputting theme on the same theme, whether you want it black and white or classic. I'll just pick classic, for example, but there are a lot of themes. Then you would see that now it looks a bit different. All of those boxes are gone. So you can choose the theme whichever you want. If I pick, that was the classic one. If I pick, for example, the dark theme, let's look how that will look like. And so, yeah, that's how you get to the dark theme. And you can play around and choose whichever themes is of interest to you. And back to the box plot, that's how we do it. But I want the very same box plot, but then in the context of, for example, I want to see the distribution of age in terms of level of education, but by sex. So I'm capturing 3 variables here: the distribution of age by level of education, and then I also include sex. So if I run the original one, this is what I get. And then I can say here, okay, can you also include a variable called sex by just filling? So fill the other part by sex, and then let's see how it looks. So if I do that, yeah, the explanation here is, it means like for those that, okay, let me just remove the flip one so that we can all see, it can be seen like quite well. Maybe this one looks a bit better compared to the first one. So here, from the same education level, those that did not attend any education, I want to get the distribution of age, but then separate for males and females. So similarly, across the continuum of education, I want a distribution of age based on gender. So here, as you would see, like male, and this speaks even our data, speaks for even our, where we got this data, like in Malawi, the expectation, not rather the expectation, but I would say it's how it has been, and maybe we will need to be changing. You find that more, even here, you find that more male have completed maybe secondary education, unlike the females one. In other way around, their distribution is a bit higher compared to the female ones. But then this is just the distribution of age, that is. So as I said, like the explanation to how maybe we interpreted box plot and the like would come maybe at a later stage. And if I can also add the very same theme here. So I take theme black and white. And once I do that, that's how I will get it. So yeah, you can choose whatever theme you like. So that's how we come up with the box plot in using ggplot. There are several other packages out there that you can use in order to come up with the same kind of stuff. Only that ggplot makes a bit easier So that's why it's, I would recommend picking ggplot. So that's for the box plot, but then this is not a famous sort of graph. Possibly the famous sort of graphs are histogram and the bar chart. These are the most common graphs that you would see them in literature and right for maybe presentation. Unless if you are too statistical, then you can get the box plot and the like. But mostly it's the bar graph or the histogram which present most of frequencies. So let's try just to not use ggplot and then construct histogram. So I will use a command called his, which is from R, the actual R. It's like a default command. So if I don't need to install any package to use a command called his because it's embedded in R. And then I would say, okay, the very same data, but I want to see the histogram of, sorry, we are using WASH3. So I want to see the distribution of age in terms of histogram. So if I do the distribution of age, this is what I get. As you would see, most of the people are in their 30s, and as we go toward 40 going downwards, then the number of people decreases. Since this study only concentrated on people that are above 15, maybe that's why we have it here. Otherwise, this would have been sort of what is known in statistics as a formal, a normal distribution, meaning to say, like you have smaller population on the other side and then possibly the other smaller population on the other side and many people concentrated at the middle. However, if you are considering like statistics, mostly for most of the African countries, for example, we have a lot of children compared to the adults. So in that context, that wouldn't be normal in a situation, like in a real situation. Otherwise, it is in statistical terms, it's something that we call skewed. So it's either something that is skewed to the right or skewed to the left. But don't worry, we don't need much of those jargons and the like, because we trying to understand, first of all, the basics on how to come up with the plots. Then in subsequent lessons, we will be understanding what do they mean. Now, I want to do the same, but now using ggplot, because for this one I have, it's limited. Yes, I can put title and the like. For example, here I will say men. And then I say histogram, for example. So it will, men here, it's giving, is the same as GG title, but men, it will give me a histogram. I can change all of these, yes. X label, and then I would say this one is age. I can also do the same. But then coloring and the like is a bit difficult compared to ggplot. Now, if we use ggplot, I will say ggplot, ggplot. There comes a ggplot, and then I can use the odd way method. Data is equal to WASH3, and then I need to get an aesthetic of age equal to A equal to age, and then that's it. Okay, it says our 10 minutes is about to erupt. I hope I'll finish the histogram by that time. Yeah, so I will do that, and then I will say, okay, I need a histogram. So I'll say geom. So everything here is geom. I'll get a geom his. So if I do that, however, I get a message here, it complains that it uses a bin of 30. Pick a better value for bin width. So if I do that, I find that this is what I get. But then as it's complaining, bins are like grouping. So grouping from 2 to 5, for example, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, those kind of grouping. So it's complaining. And then I can just put inside here bin, and then comes bin width of, for example, 2. See how the graph will be changing. So if I do that, and then I get here, you find that the graph has changed drastically. And then I can change as well, but I'll just maintain a 1, for example, like each one should be separate. And then I can also, I don't like this color. The color is not good. So let me try to fill maybe another color. So I would say fill the whole of it with whatever, green, for example. So if I do that, I find green, and the green is not that good. I'll go for light blue. So light blue, and then if I do that, maybe this one looks fine. Okay, but I can make the same sort of a ggplot, and then here I can say, okay, give me the distribution of age, but then separate for male and separate for female. So I can do that. I'll just say I'll color it, or do it separately for male and then separately for female. So you find that if I go now to here, you find the little blue is the distribution for males, and then the upper one is the distribution for females. And then I said, okay, you can keep on changing everything. Like, okay, I need it to be, that's like maybe position it to be in a dodge, for example. So position equal to dodge. That's then it compresses now. It says an error. Where do we get an error? Yes, because we did not put a comma here. So if I do that, it should be able to run now. Yeah. So you can dodge, or you can put stack as well. That was the dodge one. You can put stack. And then if you do that, it comes back to the way it was before. And yeah, and then I'll put back dodge. You can always keep on changing them. And then, for example, I don't want this legend to be here, but rather I want this legend to be on top, for example. So I would just need to change here to say, okay, get the theme, but now the legend position, we can select legend position should be on top. So if I put on top, then the legend position now will be on top. So yeah, we get it on top, like here on top. So, all right, but what if I need something like, okay, I need a vertical line to demarcate or to give me what is the mean, for example. So, okay, I will say, all right, I need a vertical line. So I will say geom vertical line, and then I want to give you an x-intercept, like a line. An x-intercept should be same as mean of age. And let's see how this one works. And then it gives me a line, a demarcation line. So this would be, that's the mean age, which is around maybe 36 or so. And then I can also add the title to this one, and then plus GG title, and then I give it a title, a histogram distribution of age by sex. So I get a title there on top. And we can play around with it as much as we want and try to use many things as much as we want. So that's about doing the histogram, which is very common. I will not get much to the interpretation. Here, I can also change it to red. I will not get much to the interpretation. But rather, yeah. So that's how, if I want to remove this field again, so if I want to move this field by age, I get it that way. So you can always play around and come up with a histogram. I hope this has given you some little knowledge on how to use ggplot in order to come up with a histogram. So I will choose my theme as well here, theme to be gray, and I get a gray, or choose theme to be whatever you choose. You can try whichever theme you like, or right, for example. So I do that, and I see that my histogram has a right background. Or if I don't want to see anything, I can try to do, what if we do theme like that? What will happen? So nothing changes since it is theme black, nothing much changes. It's more of the same like it was before. Yeah. So let's meet, time is up. Let's meet to the other side of the call where I can finish up the remaining part. We'll just take a 5-minute break and then meet to session 2, which is coming in 5 minutes time. So unless otherwise, once this one is done, then we can migrate to the other one, which will start at 4:45 Malawian time, which is CAT. In other words, 5 minutes from the finish of this call. And thank you so much for your participation. I truly appreciate your participation in these sessions, and we will continue building the skills that you can add on your curriculum vitae and increase the chances as well. So see you on the other side. I hope you enjoyed this one and you're going to join the call that starts at 4:45.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a 5-minute break and have some coffee.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.